Welcome, everybody, to what will be a very interesting Turning Two with Booney. I'm Rich Herrera from the Infinity Sports Network, the executive producer of this podcast, along with the host, Bret Boone. Thanks for joining us as we come to you just a couple days after the final game of the 2024 championship season. When the schedule comes out at the beginning of the year, Bret, they announce it as the championship schedule because at the end of the day, someone will be crowned champion of baseball, and everybody else will look forward to spring training. And that's where we are today. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers. They win the World Series. And there's so much to unpack here. We'll just look for your immediate reaction to the game itself, and then we'll dive down the rabbit hole, get a little more personal on your takes on it, Bret.
Well, I'll tell you, they're down 3-0. They come out swinging. They go down 3-1. But I thought that was game 4.
This is from the Yankees' perspective, obviously.
Yes, from the Yankees' perspective, man, they really flipped the script on the Dodgers. Dodgers had all the momentum and have had the momentum. I've been watching this postseason closely, all the teams. Dodgers more than anybody else. And it was game 4 of the Padres series where I saw a flip the Dodgers, and they were just the best team in the postseason. Flipped the switch, the script rather, in game 4, and man, they came out, and I think it just kind of it breathed some life into that Yankee team that had been dismal. And you got Garrett Cole going game 4, bam, out of the box. Judge goes deep, Chisholm goes deep, Stanton adds a homer. Verdugo's hitting the ball, and you think, wow, they're really going to push it. They're really going to push it to a game 6, headed back to LA. And then the inning, man. I don't know that I've seen an inning like that in that big of a stage with your horse on the mound and dealing. It's not only you had Garrett Cole on the mound yesterday, but he had his plus stuff. You could see he was getting away with heaters, and I'm going, how are they fouling these? How are they missing these? Well, when an ace has his plus stuff, that's why he's an ace. He was as good as you could be yesterday. Gave up 0 earned runs, almost went 7. But that inning, it just kept going and going. Judge drops the ball. There's no you can't make any excuse for it. You can't make it. You just dropped the ball. It's like, let's play catch, and you drop the ball. You move on to Volpe. Volpe is a 23-year-old young, really good player, really gifted defensively. But I've seen it throughout the season. Sometimes he's a little reckless. He's a little
aggressive. Is it okay? So hold on. Let me jump in here with you and unpack this. Is it aggressive, reckless, careless? What's the best way to put
it? I think, Rich, you always refer to when I was a young player, hair on fire. That's Volpe. He's hair on fire, and he is a real talented defender. But I've seen little miscues like this that don't have to happen. That's a ground ball in the hole. It's a 10-foot throw. He kind of rushes the throw and spikes it. Now, Chisholm, in that situation, Chisholm is playing third, but he becomes a first baseman.
Right.
So he's in the process of getting to the bag, turning around. Now he's a first baseman, and the throw's on the way. It goes right. You're still thinking, well, with Cole, with his stuff, he's going to get out of this. And he punches out, I believe he punches out Ohtani, and I'm thinking, you're getting out of this. Then all of a sudden the Mookie Betts, and I saw it. It's a squibber. There's some real you got to be careful with those as an infielder because they look harmless coming at you, but they're just spinning as much as they can spin. I didn't even notice what Cole was doing, but I saw Rizzo make sure he fielded that ball cleanly. He stayed in place, stayed back, and made sure he fielded because he had read. He knew it was a squibber. And those squibbers, they're darting left and right, and they can kick off your glove. That's not just a normal ground ball hit to Rizzo. So I saw him being extra cautious to make sure he fielded the ball. He did. And then he doesn't cover the bag, and I'm going, oh, no. Freddie Freeman, hottest guy in the postseason, gets the knock. Here we are, and we're tied, and I'm just going. And you can see, I was really interested to see how Garrett Cole would respond to that because he went from top of the world, 5-run lead, we're going to Los Angeles, to it's 5-5. And you could see almost in his face how pissed he was. And I thought this is a good time to see how he's going to react to this. He came back out in the 6th. He came back out in the 7th. That showed a lot to me because there's a lot been made. Was he available game 4? Was he not? Horses, you're used to being available more in the World Series, especially than normal. He wasn't. But him coming out for the 5th and the 6th showed me a lot what Garrett Coleman. I think he got into the dugout, and then I was getting texts from buddies, hey, what's going to go on? And they're going to bring him out. I said, if I'm managing right now, that's my boy. That's my guy right there. That's our horse. He's got his plus stuff. I go to him and say, hey, what do we got here? Because that was an emotional inning.
Right.
Obviously, Garrett Cole told Aaron, this is without me talking to Aaron. I have no idea what went on, but I believe it kind of went something like this. Garrett, what do you got? Booney, this is my game. And when you see your guy.
And Aaron kind of said that after the game as well. I watched Aaron's press conference. All right. Let me start in the micro, Bret, and then I want to get to the macro. So let's start with the micro. Yankees are up 5-0 as they go into that inning.
Right.
Has there ever been anybody who's had 1,000 fielding percentage in the history of baseball?
No.
Probably not. Okay, so everybody's going to make a mistake.
Right.
And sometimes it just happens. It's baseball.
Sure.
It's a very difficult game to play that you professional big leaguers make look so incredibly simple. And I think a lot of times we as fans and as broadcasters will forget how difficult this game is. The further you are from the dirt, the easier it looks. So let's go to Aaron Judge and that fly ball that just started this whole Armageddon that led to the Yankees' loss. You've seen outfielders drop baseballs like that. Tell me what happens. Have you ever dropped a ball like that?
I don't know. I probably have. I don't remember it. I've definitely made some bonehead plays, but I don't remember physically just dropping a ball like that. And because that is such an easy play for him.
Right.
I could go out to Yankee Stadium and replay that today and hit him 1,000 fly balls, and he would catch 1,000. He wouldn't catch 999. It's not like, oh, I'm used to Aaron Judge making that play, and he didn't make it on that particular. No. This is a layup.
Right.
For LeBron James with no defenders. That's how easy of a play it is. And I'm sure Aaron's sitting there right now like, what possibly happened?
Both Aarons, Aaron Judge and Aaron Boone.
Right. That being said, you didn't expect what was about to unfold after that era. You think, I still got Cole.
I'll get there. Yeah.
Believe me, Aaron Judge felt as bad as anyone on that field and was pulling harder for Garrett Cole right then than anyone you could possibly. I've been there. I've made a bonehead play, and I just say, man, let me give you a hug after this inning because you're going to get me out of this mess I created. But it just got worse because then Volpe added to it, which are physicals, and then at the end, Cole doesn't cover the bag, and now we've got a mental error. So we've got 3 errors in one inning. All right.
So what I'm trying to pack, because remember, Judge had gone back on a fly ball at the wall, being a leaping catch up against the wall. So I mean, he's not a stiff out there. Do you ever get to a point where you just brain lock, you lose concentration, you're thinking of something? You know, we see this in the NFL. Somebody will start running down the field after they make the catch, but they take their eye off the ball because they're going to head up the field and they drop the ball. Is there ever an opportunity where somebody just goes and it's a can of corn and you just stop paying attention to it? It's so automatic that it just boom clanks off the glove.
Obviously, and nowadays, especially with our instant, and we've got so much technology and so many great angles, and the camera can slow it down per millisecond.
Right.
So initially it was, how can Aaron Judge take his eyes off the ball? Because if you slow it down, he diverts his eyes away from the play. I'll guarantee you, once again, if I hit him 1,000 balls,
sure,
he would catch 1,000, and his eyes would divert away every time if he was looking where he was going to throw the ball in. So that's not like that one play. He took his eyes off the ball. Yeah, the camera shows that, but we do that all the time. And it's like it's in your DNA. It's like you can do it with your eyes shut. I know that's
inexplicable.
Cliche.
It's right. Just it's the baseball gods.
Right. And Aaron Judge can't explain. It was like, Rich, here's a ball, throw it to me from 10 feet, and I'll guarantee you I'm going to catch it.
Right.
And I dropped it. You'd be like, how did you drop that? I said, I
I
don't
have
know.
no idea.
And I think that's a good word. Inexplicable. No one will be able to. What came after is kind of unexplainable as
Right.
well.
Well, I'm
It's
going to
like,
get to that. I'm going to get to that because a lot of times when I'm broadcasting, I'll talk about the baseball gods because that's my only way to explain the unexplainable. It's inexplicable how you miss the ball. And you get people, I used to get people all the time that would call up after a game and say, why don't they use two hands? Why don't they catch it the way you do in Little League? Which is a question.
by the way, those fans that say that, I agree with them. I get on my son all the time. I said, why do you current players, because he uses one hand. I said, how do you one hand everything? He said, Dad, it's easier that way. I said, I never went up for a pop up. Now, yeah, if we're playing catch, I'm turning two. It might be a one hand, but a pop up every time it's never two hands, Rich. It's never physically two hands, but it's always your offhand in the vicinity of
Squaring
the
up, right?
catch. Right. It kind of gives you that balance. And I see these guys one handing it all the time. And I'm always thinking, oh, I couldn't do that. I wouldn't feel stable. Maybe that's just me. So it's not. Yeah, the two hands you never use two hands when you're catching anything, but it's that guide hand in the vicinity is what gives you that balance and that sureness. Uh, but it wasn't that. It's just this was just a fluke that happened, and then it snowballed, and the impossible happened after that. I look at this team. I think they were the best team. I think they proved that they had the best
Right.
record in the American League. From what I've watched in this postseason, I think the Dodgers were the best team in baseball this year.
Sure.
They proved that to me in the postseason and
We
what
said
they
that
did.
during the beginning of the season.
That being said, man, it would have been nice to go to Game 6 and make this thing interesting, and they had it right there.
Well,
Now
wait a
you're
minute.
down.
Wait, hold on a second. This was an interesting World Series. This was listen. I'm emotionally invested because I'm friends with the Boone family, and obviously I know you are. But it was still a good World Series. It's a memorable World Series. It's a historic World Series. It's one that you and I don't like the outcome.
Right.
All my friends, all my Dodger friends are so excited. My phone's been blowing up. Ha ha. We won. That, you know what? Tip your cap to them. I can't say anything else about it. But I do want to take you back to that inning, though, because I've been around the game long enough. You've experienced this, I'm assuming, when you're out there and it feels like you're in quicksand and you just can't get out of your own way. One little mistake leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. Before you know it, they put up a big crooked number. So I want you to explain to the Boone podcast fans that feeling when that one first little mental error, the ball hits a pebble, it kicks off a base, just something, that little thing that just snowballs into an inning like we had last night. On a regular game, I can't imagine. I don't remember this happening in a playoff game of such magnitude. This is the first time anybody's ever come down from 5-0 to come back to win the World Series. So explain to us what it's like when you're in the field and you're drowning in quicksand.
Well, I mean, I've been in innings like that throughout my career where something crazy happens, and then
Right.
something crazy happens again, and you're kind of looking around like, wait a minute, let's get a grip on this thing before it gets out of control. Some things are unexplainable, and you go, all right, that's very flukish, but that's baseball. When it happens again in the same inning, you go, oh, wait a minute, come on, guys, let's let's rally this thing, let's get this thing under control before it's out of control. And then the third thing happens, and it happens to be a mental where he didn't cover the bag. And you're just going, uh-oh. You still have hope. You still know Cole's on the mound, and you go, he's probably still going to get out of it with minimal damage. 5-3 is much more you can deal with 5-3 versus 5-5.
Right.
And you can still deal with 5-5, but you don't want to. Your bags are packed. You came to the ballpark today in a good mood, going
with vigor.
Man, with vigor. I hope I'm going to LA. I hope we play good. Bam. The way that game started, Judge, Chisholm, Stanton, you're going, we are going to LA. That for a player. And now it's like, we can put a little pressure. I know it's never been done. 3-0 coming back in a World Series, never been done. Your back's still way against the wall. But you're going, wait a minute. Now it's the pressure's starting to shift a little bit to the Dodgers. We get this back to LA. and then we didn't get to see that. That was disappointing me. I try to stay out of this, Rich, because I had so many years where you get
No, I
emotional.
want you in this. I want to know
No,
what it's like.
no, you spend so many years where you're so emotionally invested in the
Right.
process, and it's just your heart has a tough time going up and down and up and down.
Yeah.
And it's still tough for
I'll be
me.
honest. I'm depressed today.
It's still tough for me for my brother because
Yeah.
he's still my brother, and I know
Yeah.
how bad he wants it, but I can't get myself into that player mode emotionally attached because it's like
It's too tough.
you never know what's going to happen, especially when they're down 3-0. I don't get ahead of myself. I love that they won game 4. All right, we're making it a series. Game 5,
Right.
now you can get a little pressure going on the Dodgers. I love that. But still the cynic in me sits there and goes, don't put the cart in front of the horse. You're still down 3-1. And if you go to LA, you're still down 3-2. Now, I'll guarantee if they would have come back, pushed it to a 3-3, as much as I try to suppress that emotion, I would have been going to the ballpark with my dad, and I would have been invested. And then I would have been like you today, depressed.
Yeah.
If they lost.
Wait a minute.
I tried as much as I can to always separate myself from the process. And then if something really good happens, really celebrate in that. And if he would like him winning a World Series, being able to celebrate with him, but not, I don't like getting my expectations too high and then get them smashed. I've had it happen too much in my life. And I say that
horrible.
I say that just because, I don't want to cheapen real things that are happening to people out there in real life. I'm talking athletically. I've been smashed a few times where I was right there. I was at the top of the mountain, Rich. I was there. Oh, I'm one more away from no. And it's just been too much. Sports is unbelievable. Baseball's unbelievable. I can't explain it to anybody throughout this whole postseason. Why can't Judge hit? He stinks. You're talking
I was
to
listening to WFAN after
neighbors,
the game last
fans. Night. And I said, do you guys realize how hard it is? This is the best player in the world. He's the best hitter in the world. And man, it's a bad time right now to not be hitting. But he's going to hit again. It's just hopefully by the end of the series. And you saw in game 4 with the base hit, game 5, first at bat, big home run. It's like, wow. Now you got Judge back into the fold. Stanton wouldn't go away. He did it again. He hit another homer.
Right.
Had an unbelievable postseason. But
the bottom of the lineup started contributing the way the Dodgers did. It seemed like the Dodgers got it off to a quicker start. Like everybody locked in a lot quicker than the Yankees.
The Dodgers, for me, they took advantage of yesterday, but I go back. I keep going back to the same thing. Game 4 of the San Diego Padres series with the Dodgers. Ever since then, the Dodgers have been on a high. They've had a pep in their step. They've been different than all the other teams. The only downer was game 4 for them, where they fell flat and Yankees just kind of had their day, and it kind of switched it a little bit, that momentum. But up until that, I have not seen Dodgers have one game where they weren't putting it to you.
And what does this say about you and I then? Because I'm going on record right now. Sue Boone, your mom is going to watch. Aaron, I don't know if Aaron's going to want to watch our conversation.
He's going to the Bahamas. He's going to the Bahamas.
Yeah, he's going to the Bahamas. But I will just go on record right now. I'm more emotionally distraught over Aaron Boone losing than your brother. I just want to go on record right now. So the next time I ask Aaron for tickets, he knows that I was right there on the foxhole with him.
That's right. Well,
there you go.
That's good pandering.
Yeah, that's good pandering
that's
on my
politician.
part.
That's the politician.
That's why I'm on the radio.
And my mom's okay too. I talked to her during the game last night. She called and she goes, "Well, how do you think your brother's doing?" I said, "He's probably not doing very good right now, but Aaron's a pro,
right?
And he's been disappointed a lot of times, and he knows what this is and how hard it is." But Mom was like, "Yeah, it's just really tough to watch." And I said, "I know, but Mom's a pro too. At this stage in her career, she's seen so. What I was
matriarch of the Boone family.
I was talking earlier about how I've been so close and so disappointed. Well, all those disappointments that I went through professionally, Mom was right there on top, going, "Bretty, are you okay?" "Mom, damn it, yes, I'm okay. I don't need pity." But man, that was tough to get it ripped away again. So
So if your mom,
That's
it's
why
one thing.
Sport Rich is unbelievable, and it's
It,
just amazing,
yeah,
and
it,
it's awesome, and it's so hard to win that big one.
it's one thing for her to see her husband go through it. For her boys, that's still your mommy.
Yeah, I agree. But I
Um,
think she's so weathered, and she's been through so many ups and downs
right,
athletically for all her kids
for all
and
three of
for
the
her
boys and the
for
grandkids.
right, and for her son. She's as poised of a mom as you could possibly be at this stage of the game because she's been through everything.
Everything.
So if I expect anybody to stay calm, and I always use this reference, we're on the airplane and there's turbulence. Mom's the head chief flight attendant.
Right. She's chief steward.
She's looking at you going, you're going to be okay. And as long as mom says I'm going to be okay, if I'm a first-time flyer, I'm thinking, well, they just do this for a living. If they're poised, everything must be okay.
Everything's fine.
That rookie flight attendant with that look on her face, like looking around. Well, man, get her out of here. Bring mom in. So that's like the young rookie player and his fiance and his wife. It's her first time through it. You see a different reaction, and then you see the older wives, that maybe the coaching staff that have been through it a lot. You see a little more disposition when it comes to that, but that's comes with experience, just like everything else in life. Experience. The more you go, the more you learn to deal with it and temper those emotions, because it is emotional. If you let yourself get emotional, it'll get away from you.
I turned off the TV after the Yankees lost because I was so upset. And I go, let me watch them give away the trophy because I wanted to see Andrew Friedman get his World Series trophy because I'm friends with Andrew Friedman. I go back to him with the Devil Rays, and he had this crappy little office with this jersey that said Prime Co. from a sponsor that didn't want their jersey, and they ended up just throwing it up in Andrew's office. So I wanted to see Andrew get his World Series trophy, so I was happy for him, heartbroken for Aaron. And then I stayed on, and I wanted to see Aaron's interview with Tom Verducci after the ball game, and then I watched his press conference when it came up on Yes Network. So let me ask you this: I'm not sure how much.
I still haven't watched that, by the way.
It's tough. I'll be honest, it's tough because I think the world of your brother. But you always say that your brother acts like your dad. That your brother and your dad have a lot in common. And I know the character of Bob Boone, and I know the character of Aaron Boone, but I think I learned more about the character of Aaron Boone because I'll tell you, I was getting broken up watching him having to answer the questions from the media about Judge, about Cole, about whether Soto's leaving, the end of the season. He was asked about his future because there's a club option for next year. But I watched him, and I watched the poise and the character. And you want to talk about the flight attendant being stoic in the face of a storm. Your brother, and there were a couple times where he had to stop and just breathe for a minute. But I could tell how heartbroken he was for his guys. And then he stood there like he always does and took the slings and arrows of the disappointment of Yankee fans. And I was really taken aback at his thoughtfulness, his poise, and his grace. And if you want an example of why Aaron is a chip off the old block from Bob, that was it last night at that post-game press conference.
Well, Aaron is, you talk about his characters as, one of the most high character people I know, and that's brother aside. But he cares so much. I always tell him, you care too much to a fault.
Yeah.
He really does. He really does. That everything you see from Aaron Boone, nothing's ever premeditated, nothing's ever calculated. And that's how he's feeling. At the same time, he's strong, and I
very
reassure,
strong.
even though when mom, calls me, and you know the way my personality is, oh, mom, get over it. He's a big boy.
Right.
That would be my answer. But he truly is. I worry about Aaron sometimes. We all worry about siblings, family members,
Right.
and I'm thinking, man, I wish I could take a little bit for him right now. But then it takes me back. I know this this kid inside and out. And he's a big boy and he can handle it. And as tough as it is, he's going to be all right. I talked to Jakey. Jakey's hears about the fly to New York. He's going to stay with Uncle Aaron for a couple weeks. He's like, Dad, do you think Aaron will be in a couple of days? I said, he's going to be fine, buddy. I said, he's going to love seeing his nephew come see him. It'll cheer him up, if anything.
Right.
I said, Aaron, he's going to take a little. We all grieve.
Right.
We all have our time. But he's a pro, and I know him. A week from now, he's going to start. The wheels are going to start turning about next year.
He's going to watch the Eagles. He'll watch the Eagles and start worrying about them.
He's fine. He'll
wonder whether Joel Embiid is going to take the floor for the 76ers, and he'll worry about how USC is going to do. But you know what, Brett? Stop for a second. You use the word grieve. I've never heard that word before, but it's a word that I probably should use because I tell people, just regular season, if someone loses a baseball game, it's like I went to a funeral. You grieve after every loss. In this one, you could tell the look of grief on Judge, who came out, who's wearing his red jacket, and Soto and all the rest. Garrett Cole is fighting tears, sitting talking to people, and they kept asking him, why didn't you cover first base? Why didn't you cover first base? And he was trying to hold it together. You could tell how he was grieving, having to answer those questions.
Yeah. And when you say during the regular season, it's so long, you can't grieve each and every day. You're going to get lost. You're going to have tough losses. Your players are going to play bad. You're going to play bad. It's just the way it is. And you've got to be able to temper that and handle that and get through it. But this is a tough one. When you have that group of guys, and I remember a few of the teams that I went deep into the postseason with, when it's over, it's kind of like you're just looking at each other like, man, we went through an awful lot to get our butt kicked tonight. It's hard, and you grieve, and you have a period, and everybody's different. Some days, some guys, it's 24 hours, and bam, what's next? Some guys, it's a week.
Right. Who were you?
I don't know. I think I had different
moves,
reactions, different points in my career. When I was younger, I slopped it off. Hold on. When I was younger, I slopped it off a little quicker. As I got a little bit older, and it was kind of like, man, how many more chances am I going to get? It was a little tougher.
How long did it take you to get over the World Series with the Braves?
Not that long. The 01 season for me was
that's
tough.
where I was going to go next.
It was tough. And I'm not sitting here saying I walked around for a week whining, but man, it stuck with me a little bit. Like, how did we not finish it? How did we not? And kind of all off season, it was kind of lingering. Like, how could we not finish the deal this year? We had it. We were right there. We lost that World Series with the Braves. We were really good, but that Yankee team was really good. When you come out of a series and you get beat by a team that you don't think's better than you, and I do not think that 2001 Yankee team was better than me. Than that 2001 Mariner team. That's when it sticks there. Like, we were better. But also, I've been on teams that have beat superior teams and kind of like, nanny, boo-boo. You were better than us, and we beat you. That's sports. That's baseball. That's what makes it unbelievable and unexplainable.
Well, the other part of it is, Brett, and I'm not comparing myself to you. And no way am I trying to compare the two.
I think you should, Rich.
Well, I can for some things. Like, I think I got pretty good hair now that you've convinced me to grow it out long. No, I was going to ask you about the bubble of being in the postseason, because when you're in the middle of that run, you get so locked in, so focused, and you get in that bubble of that first champagne celebration, then that first round, that second round, the World Series. I mean, you're just the baseball playoffs envelop your entire life, and you wouldn't know whether there was a house fire next door or something amazing happened, because you're just so focused, tunnel vision in that playoff run. And then when it's over, and you're standing there the next day going,
life goes on.
Everything's
just a little more hyper. everything is like times 4 when you get to the postseason. Things
Yeah, that's a
change,
good way
and
to put it.
now with the Yankees, the Yankees are a little bit different because they're kind of a traveling bingo's traveling all-star. They always have
Right.
extra
Nice reference.
security,
Yeah.
extra security. They're the Yankees, but for the normal big league teams, we travel in a certain way. We have security. We get police escorts to the hotel when we need them. You get to the postseason, everybody's kind of on hyper alert. Every city you go to, the fans, the police officers that are helping you get from one place to another. There's a look on their face like, "Hey, it's go time. This is really important now." Whereas
The police dogs.
Right. Whereas in June, when you see that same officer, he's saying, "I hope the Yankees kick your ass this week." And now when you get to the postseason, it's kind of like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
this is a special time. There's escorts everywhere. There's velvet ropes everywhere. There's family with you. So you have extra security. So it's almost like going to the All-Star game.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you go to the All-Star game, it's completely different than going to a regular game during the season. It's hyper. There's security everywhere. It seems like everywhere you go, they make you feel like extra special, like you're walking the red carpet at the Grammys.
Like you're
It's
the
like, oh,
Beatles.
right. And at the All-Star game, that's how you are. Everybody has their own chaperone, and you have your own booth with your name tag, and you have to answer questions only out of that booth. So for a couple days of the All-Star game, that's how it is. You get to the postseason, that's every day, and it seems like how far you go, especially today when there's so much
Right.
attention, there's so much media. And not to say, yeah, sometimes it's a little much, but it's also, hey, appreciate these times because they're hypersensitive and they're over the top for a reason. This is really special. So instead of poo-pooing it, I kind of think it's better to embrace it because not everybody gets to do this and not everybody gets to be, which is so special in the World Series.
I remember 2008, day after the World Series was over, I was just like, oh. And my wife said, we need light bulbs. I said, I'll go to Target. And I looked at my watch and it was 5:00. And I'm like, this should have been first pitch. And I was sitting at Target in line behind 10 people buying light bulbs. I'm like, wow, that magic moment is just poof, gone like a dream.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about.
You got anything more upbeat to talk about, Rich?
No, I'm bummed, man. I'm bummed. Because I tell you, and we didn't normally. Brett and I will talk about kind of have an outline. Today I didn't do an outline because I just wanted to talk about the emotions of all of this and share with people. Today feels like the last day of the season. Whether it was in Oakland, and I had some really bad teams in Oakland or San Francisco or Tampa Bay or San Diego, like Joe Castiglione would read Bart Giamonti's poem that baseball is a game designed to break your heart. It starts in spring when everything is new. It ends in the fall when everything's dying. And it really is a game that breaks your heart. And the tough part is, Joe Madden would always say this, that only one team gets to eat last. So we have 30 teams, 32, however many baseball teams we have, 30 teams. 30 teams that show up at spring training. They all have their eye on that prize of standing on that stage with Kevin Burkhardt getting that trophy. And one's going to come out victorious, and they're going to have a heck of a party and a parade. And for the other 29, you're going to end up heartbroken. You're going to end up not with the seat at the table. So it is interesting at the end of the season. This is a game that is designed to break your heart.
Yeah. And I think when I was younger, especially when I retired and I walked away, I thought, wow, I don't have that stress. I don't have this anymore. I don't have to worry about all that. And I kind of, at the beginning, didn't miss it. Now as I get a little bit older and now I'm involved on the media side, as much as this postseason and this last 30 days has seemed like a serious marathon, and you got shows to do and hits to do, and you got to cover, what's your thoughts on game 3 of the NLCS,
and preview this and preview that.
And it's right. It seems like you're constantly working and you're thinking, man, I can't wait for it to be over. So I don't have to break down every little thing. But then when it's over, it's like, now what am I going to do?
You're gonna go play golf at Pebble Beach.
So I'm gonna go play golf at
and
Pebble
we'll have
Beach.
Drew
But
Bledsoe come back on.
now what am I gonna do? So as much as in the hustle and bustle in the daily life, I've just proven to myself long term that when I was young and thought, I don't need this. Once this is done, I'll move on to something else. Baseball's kind of ingrained in me. It's been my whole life. It's been something I've always been in the middle of. And I think it's something that'll always be a part of me. And it's just, for me, it's going to be nice to have a break from it for a little bit. But it just proven to me today, I'm thinking, man, I wish there was a game tonight after a long month. That's just part of me. And it's part of my life, and it'll never not be a part of my life.
All right, so let's stop with the melancholy part of this. Let's talk about your brother for a second. You have to be proud of the job that he did and what they accomplished. Because as much of a bummer as it is today, next week I'm going to look back and I'm like, damn, that was a pretty good. That Yankee team did a good job.
They did a great job.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm proud of them. You can't get caught up in the emotion of New York, and they haven't been in the World Series in 15 years. Well,
right.
Lati frickin' da, get in line with the rest of us normal franchises that cherishes you can't go to the Yankees run in the 90s or what Bruce Bochy did in, 10, 12, and 14.
Although people are saying the Dodgers have that opportunity.
Those are unicorns. The Dodger with that talent in-house, if you get a healthy Tyler Glasnow, if you get a Walker Buehler that gets through this Tommy John, he started to show signs of the old Walker Buehler in his last couple outings. But if he has a full offseason to prepare, and he's the Walker Buehler of 2021, couple that with a Yamamoto that gets a little more experience on this side of the ocean and pitching in Major League Baseball,
and he stays healthy.
And then you bring Ohtani back.
Right.
How about that for 4? How about potentially Ohtani is your 4th starter?
Jeez.
Because you've got a healthy Glasnow. You've got a healthy Yamamoto doing what he's done in Japan for years. You got a healthy Walker Buehler.
Right.
And then, we'll just throw in Ohtani, who's hitting 50 homers on the side. Now, that has the potential to be a dynasty without a doubt. But I think you hit on the most important thing, and especially in today's game, health is so critical because there are so many injuries. And, but this Dodger team and the way they're set up and the way they have these guys hooked into long-term contract, they could be a juggernaut and a pain in the neck for a lot of teams in the short term.
Can I give you a nightmare scenario if you're not a Dodger? For anybody else in baseball?
Sure.
There's a free agent in New York.
Soto. Wouldn't that be too much? Wouldn't that be over the top?
Not if you're the Guggenheim group. You already got Yamamoto and Ohtani last year.
That'd be a little much. I'll guarantee you they're going to be players. There's only certain teams that are going to play in that big pool when it
Yankees,
comes to
Mets, Dodgers.
the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Yeah, Yankees, Mets, Dodgers. Who knows? I don't see the Cubs, but Red Sox or Cubs.
Red Sox, Cubs with Buster Posey now that he's running the Giants. He needs needs an aircraft carrier.
There's. I'll tell you, when you get in that rare air that Juan Soto's put himself in, you definitely, the teams involved are less, but the teams involved they got a lot of money. They
do. Although I will tell you this, I wonder what it's going to be like, because we saw this offseason the money wasn't flowing as freely as you would have thought.
Yeah, but you saw Ohtani and Yamamoto get the big money. So
right.
the number 1, the number 2
they'll
guys,
get theirs. Everybody else,
I think so. And
we still have to see what's going to happen with the TV contracts as well, Brett.
Correct. I think that's a good point.
Okay. Wow.
It makes
mark the tape right there, because Brett actually gave me credit for making a good point. It happens so rarely on this podcast.
Wow. Are you really marking the tape? All right.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm an honest gentleman. Where was
you are.
The Juan Soto? He did such a perfect scenario for Juan Soto. Could you be any better in a walk year at
Right.
25 years old? Play it any better? Say the right things anymore?
Yeah.
I think it was communications 101. It's like, this is how you handle it. You don't get emotionally involved, because there's the baseball side, which I couldn't imagine him not having the time of his life this year. With that group of guys, the success that he had, the love that New York City has for him. You're playing for the New York Yankees in the Bronx. And oh, by the way, you just happen to have an unbelievable year that if your partner Judge wasn't there, you'd be taking home the MVP trophy. And you're playing it perfect to the media. Hey, I don't know. Business is business. Baseball is baseball. I think he's playing it perfect. Of course, you put yourself in this situation, you're going to listen. You want to get the bidding up. You know, the more people that think you're interested in their team, the money goes up. The money goes up. But I think ultimately, I'd be shocked that in his heart of hearts, he's not thinking, man, I hope the Yankees, or at least in the ballpark, because I had a good time here. Why would you want to play anywhere else? If you have an opportunity, and especially have proven on that stage in Yankee Stadium that you're built for it and you produce like all I know is this: when I'm in a ballpark that I kill it in and I'm really successful in, I love going to that ballpark. Obviously, he likes Yankee Stadium. Man, that's a part of it. Yeah, Juan Soto likes a lot of stadiums, you know, or his numbers wouldn't be what they are.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, he likes Yankee Stadium. He likes that group of guys he's playing with. So I think heart of hearts, take the business out of it. I think he's thinking, man, I hope they just give me a good deal, because I want to come back. Why wouldn't you want to come back to the Yankees? You write your own ticket. You got the key to the city for the rest of your life if you're a great player. Why wouldn't you? You get the focal point. You get more publicity than anybody. What he'll make off the field there is ridiculous. But also, though, LA, there's a point to it too. You know, the glitz and the glamour of LA. But the Yankees, all due respect to the Dodgers, they are the Dodgers, one of the biggest franchises in the world. But the Yankees are the Yankees, and nobody else is the Yankees. And until further notice, I don't see anybody else being the Yankees from a baseball perspective.
If you look in Los Angeles, you want to listen, you're already in for a penny, in for a pound. You go get Soto, you catch the Giants 3 championships and surpass them. That's how good you would be. Steve Cohen of the Mets has already made noise, and they've let it be known they're going to go after Soto with the biggest open pocketbook they could think of. The Yankees are going to come back. There's a bunch of salaries, I think, that are coming off. So Cash is going to have some money at Yankee Stadium. I think the Dodgers are going to be a player for them.
Well, it depends when these owners get to a point where is too much? Ohtani, $700 million. There's no other Ohtani.
Deferred.
Yeah, but there's no other Ohtani in the world.
Right.
There's nobody even close. Even close. It's not even a conversation.
Somebody told me that, you know, he's a credit card player, because the Dodgers are paying all that money to Yamamoto right now, and they put Ohtani on credit, and he's not going to get his money until he's done playing for the Dodgers.
Yeah, but how about this though? In 10 years, when it starts rolling in, how sweet would that be? And in the meantime, Ohtani's making $40 million off the field, so it's supplementing his salary that he's not getting.
Yeah,
I don't care what you say. Oh, it's not that good of it. It's a hell of a deal.
It's a heck of a deal for everybody.
Right, and I think
he's like Gronk.
But here's the thing with Soto. The free market is what the market will bear and what somebody's willing to pay you. Okay. And I'm for that. That's how we're predicated. But he's not a Shohei Ohtani. Nobody is. You can't hit 54 homers, steal 59 bags,
and win 20
and be a number one starter. It's impossible. Nobody else has that skill set. So that's why he's paid the $700 million tag is. But it's going to be interesting what the Soto tag is. Is it $1 more than Mike Trout's, which I think was the biggest position player contract to this point? Or do they go to a whole different stratosphere? It's going to be interesting to see.
So, Brett, I always said this, and you were in the union. I always said this about the union. They just need one owner to flinch. They're basically, here's what's going to happen. And you tell me whether you agree with me or not. They're going to play Red Rover. Do you remember that when you were a kid? Red Rover, send Bret right over, and you had to run through the line of kids as they're holding hands. And I think that's all 30 owners are standing there. And we go, Red Rover, bring Juan Soto right over, and Soto's going to run. And remember when you were running, you picked the smallest, weakest kid to run through. You didn't run through the big fat kid. You picked the weakest little kid with glasses that you can knock down to get through, right?
Well,
you remember playing that game? Yeah.
No.
So you guys didn't play Red Rover?
No, we didn't play Red Rover.
You grew up in Philly. What do you know? Sorry, everybody in Philly. I don't want to make you guys mad. But you look for Jersey. You look for the kid that you can knock over so you can win. And I think it's the same thing. The agent's going to look, and they're going to look at every owner. They're going to see the one that has that twitch in his eye that needs it, and he needs it bad. And you're going to look for that guy, and that's the one that you prey upon. So if you look around, will the Guggenheim Group and Andrew Friedman be the one with that twitch? Like, I got to have him, and I'm going to overpay for him. Or will it be Steve Cohen, who wants so desperately to get a World Series and make the Mets the biggest thing in town? Will it be Brian Cashman, who knows what it's like to get back to the World Series and what he needs to get there again? Will it be, like, I throw out Buster Posey as a crazy thing because they didn't get Judge a couple of years ago and were willing to spend that money. They have even less money on the books right now. If Buster Posey's just taken over as general manager, I think they might be a player. Which team is going to flinch?
Well, once again, there too, when you're Juan Soto and you're at the pinnacle and you're going to be the number one sought after free agent, you take into consideration everything. Yes, obviously the money, but where do I want to raise my family? What is the ballpark like? Do I want to go to the ballpark? The one thing that San Fran's got against them is that ballpark. That does not set up for Juan Soto. And as much as the money is important, he still wants to put up the numbers. Juan Soto goes to that ballpark, he doesn't hit 41 home runs.
Sure.
So you still want to put up the numbers and trot your way towards the Hall of Fame. That's why I thought Judge never considered San Francisco seriously, because Judge hits a lot of his home runs the other way. And in San Francisco, they're outs.
But you know what San Francisco provided for him, don't you?
What?
The stalking horse that he needed to get the number that he wanted.
Without a doubt. I'm not saying that's why I'm saying he's playing it so good. He's playing it to, this has been a hell of a ride. It's fun, but I'm open to the highest bidder. I want everybody in. He knows in his mind, I definitely don't want to go there, But if they want to talk, oh yeah, I'll go there. Get that money.
I need to create a stalking horse. Here's the other part is I will give
Cohen's interesting. He's going to be aggressive, because I think you're going to let a guy like Pete Alonso go. How do you Alonso's been the kind of the heart and soul of that team,
right?
The media guide along with Lindor. But if you lose a guy like that, who are you going to replace him with? He's thinking in New York. He's loved in New York. How about bringing Soto over to me? And
could you see them?
I think he's going to be. If anyone I'd look out for, it's the Mets.
And could you see the Mets flexing? That's right. We're the big dogs here. We just outspent the Yankees. Soto's a Met.
Here's what I would do, though. If I'm the Yankees and I don't win the Soto sweepstakes, and think about all that money I didn't just spend. Well, I can go out. There's going to be some free agents come available that I can throw that money around a little bit and make a real improvements to that team.
Okay, so I do want to give Juan Soto credit, though. You said he played it well. I think he played it. What's the right word other than well? Respectful for the New York Yankee fans.
I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm a New York Yankee fan, I'm thankful for his time with us. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't talking about this or getting distracted by that. He was focused on where we were, and he respected the pinstripes. And I admire that in him.
Well, and he never told you, he never pretended to be anybody he wasn't. He came to New York, and from day one, he says, I'm glad to be a Yankee. Let's go out and have a great year at the same time. This is my walk year, and I've gotten here. And I'll tell you what, no matter what happens, rain or shine, I am going to test my free agency because I've earned that right. And he said that from day one, and you got to respect it. He stuck to it.
Okay, two things. Big question. How much is a player? I'm going to ask you to put your player hat on. How much, you talk about the to go to stadiums that I hit well at, I want to raise my kids in.
Sure.
All right. So all things being equal, if I've got a stadium that I don't like as much, how much of a premium do I have to pay to buy away those feelings? So if it's two stadiums and I really like one, I really don't care for the other, how much of a premium do I have to pay to make my deal so nice that I can learn to live with that?
It depends on what stadium it is. I had some stadiums that, man, I couldn't wait to get there. I had stadiums like, 50-50. Sometimes I'm good, sometimes I'm bad. And then I had stadiums where it's like, oh, I got to go there. I never hit good there. So in that order, for the great stadiums, man, it's going to be easier to entice me for the place I really hit. For the places I hit on and off, you might have to intrigue me with a little more. For the places that I just dreaded going to because I didn't see the ball good, whatever it may be, you're really going to have to entice me.
Like 10, 15%, 20%,
Oh, I don't know.
25%?
I don't know. I was never in that position. I never had to make that decision. I'll give you this. When I was, I signed with the Seattle Mariners, a 1-year deal after the 2000 season. I hurt my knee, and I was in no man's land. I signed a 1-year deal with the Seattle Mariners. I had played one series there, and I knew the ball didn't go anywhere at Safeco Field. And I just thought, I signed the deal, and I thought, I got to play in that ballpark. Oh, my goodness. And then it ended up being the best decision of my life.
Okay.
So
give me 60 seconds on Freddie Freeman, MVP.
Freddie Freeman, incredible, one of the best hitters in the world. That 5 days he got to get his ankle right, so he explained it. He got it right, and he was upfront about it. I loved some of his post-game interviews, how he thought through the process of hitting. This is truly one of the best hitters of this era, and he came through big time there. And they had a lot of subplots with the Freddie Freeman and the talks of his father and the battles he's gone through with his son from a health perspective. So he's been through a lot this year. Man, did he come up big for that Dodger team. You could tell that those teammates, usually World Series teams, they have a special bond, and you could tell everybody how much they cared for Freddie Freeman, how important he was. I got to give it to him. He came up big at the right time.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about on the podcast today?
I do not.
I'm just going to notice one thing. If you're watching on YouTube, and by the way, the response we had from our YouTube show, the live
you could tell them we were going to do another one for Game 6.
Yeah,
then I don't have to go out and get gas.
I'm bummed out. I have nothing to do on Friday. Friday night. I was going to say, if you watch on YouTube, please keep watching us on YouTube because the channel's growing. But you also get a chance to see that Bret sit up a little bit higher for those watching on YouTube. Boone, you're getting in pretty good. You're getting in better shape.
Well, I'll tell you, I wear shirts that
are too small,
flatter the frame. Yeah, you never know what I'm doing behind the scenes here, Rich, to make myself look really good.
No, I mean, listen, the shoulders.
I might have a girdle on.
I'm just saying, you look like you're in November shape ever since I've known you, because I know that you're going to be a chunky monkey and eat too much candy and garbage during the holidays. So I'm glad that you put yourself in the optimal position going into the holidays. Postseason, you look good.
Chunky monkey, it's all relevant.
You compared to me?
Well, I didn't say you, but to everybody, to each their own. They know who I'm talking to.
All right. So when he starts chomping down on the Swedish fish, come up November.
Oh, no, that's been the one thing I've been cutting out, candy. Man, it's been making my eye. I'm getting an allergy. I'm cutting out the sugar right now. I'm doing a little bit of a experiment. I'll get back to you next week on the no sugar experiment.
All right. There you go. All right. That's going to do it for the podcast for today. We got a bunch of great guests coming up next week. And thank you for joining us, everybody.
Thank you.